Good morning. Good morning, teachers. Happy Saturday. I'm hoping you can see me. Facebook's very fickle with how you go live, and you can't share screen and show yourself in the same live. So I'm working around it with Zoom. Thank you so much for being here. Happy Saturday. Good for you for coming at 9 a.m. on a Saturday morning, or if you're catching the replay, thank you so much. I hope you're having a wonderful weekend. I'm really excited because today, as you probably know, I'm launching my new, not my first, my new free resource. So it is the Beginner's Guide to Project-Based Learning. I'm just gonna, before I jump into it, I'm gonna make sure you guys can actually see me. I'm gonna try and go to this live on my phone. Let's see. And while I do this, in the comments, say hi. Let us know where you're watching from. Can't really see, but yes, I think you can see me. Okay, cool. Okay, so first I want to let you know a bit about why I chose to create this resource. So I'm a firm believer in that you shouldn't have to sacrifice student engagement with time in order to teach everything you have to teach. So I've been trying to find strategies that allow teachers to teach everything they need to teach and then also be able to engage your students at the same time. So I believe that project-based learning is a way for teachers to do that. And just a brief summary of what project-based learning is. It's basically students learning through projects. So you're still teaching the curriculum that you have to teach, but students are doing it through projects. And I found in my own experience that projects are really the way to engage students the most. And I find teachers don't use projects to the as best of I just find projects have so much to offer, and teachers often don't utilize projects. I find teachers, we often think of projects as like an end of term or end of year thing that we do just to kind of fill in the time. And I was guilty of that too, where I would, it'd be the last month of school, and I would like look on Teachers Pay Teachers just for a project that would keep my students occupied for the last couple weeks of school. And what I found was during these projects, students were often the most engaged. And I was like, wow, I could be using this in order to be teaching the students all the things that they need to teach. So project-based learning, they're learning through projects, and you're still teaching throughout the project. It's not just like you're teaching them and then the project's at the end. The project is happening and they're learning throughout the project. So I have created a free guide for you. It's for elementary ELA teachers. And in this guide, you get two things. So one, you get the guide where I give like tips and tricks. I give a calendar template to let you know, like, let's say for a project that's 2 weeks long, exactly what you should be doing each day. And then I also do a calendar for a month-long project. So 2 weeks to a month project I find is a good length of time for project-based learning. So I give that in the guide. I also give, the pillars of project-based learning, just kind of like basics to get your kind of head around it. And then I think the creme de la resistance, I should say, is a project to get you started. So if you've never done project-based learning before, or even if you have, this is a great project that students could be doing, and it would get them started with project-based learning. And it's all about growth mindset. So I did a poll in my Facebook group. I did it in different Facebook groups. I did it on Instagram, and I asked teachers, I gave 4 options, and I asked which project would you most like to have in your classroom, and growth mindset was definitely the one that was the most popular. I feel like I'm talking about a minute, so I'm gonna have a sip of my coffee. So I'm going to show you the project today. This project, I said it's for grades 4 to 6. It could be 3 to 6. So if you are teaching those grades, this project would be perfect for you. Okay, I'm gonna go. Can I share my screen? Yeah, share screen. Desktop. share. I'm like sharing while I'm sharing. Okay, so let's hide this. So I'm going to run you through the entire project. And again, this is completely free. So if you click the link in the description of this live, you get the guide and you get the 2 weeks of planning all done for you. So in this project, in project-based learning, students are answering a question and then they're creating a project to help them answer that question. So the question for this particular project, which will run for 2 weeks, is how do you know if you have a growth mindset or not? So I said approximately 2 weeks. It might take you longer. I find often the work time I've allotted for a couple days, but it might take you longer. So in this project, students will create a quiz that helps to let someone know whether they have a growth mindset or not. So they will be creating a quiz. I show you in the lesson plan how to kind of guide the students so they know that this is the question. How do you know if you have a growth mindset? And I kind of coach you on how to guide students to come to the conclusion that a quiz is the best solution to answer this question. So here is a calendar of what you're doing each day or what the students are doing each day. And then I'll walk you through each of the lessons. So in the first lesson, you're going to hook them into the subject matter. So for this one, I had students would do a tower of cards competition to see who could build the tallest tower out of playing cards. And this will kind of have students start to talk about the way they speak to others and even the way they speak to themselves when they're doing a challenging task. So in this activity, students, half the class are building their towers and the other half are actually writing down on the board things they hear the other students say as they're building their towers. So they're writing down, like, if they're getting frustrated, they might write down something that each person is saying. And then after that, after the competition, you would have kind of a discussion and take a look at all the things that were annotated on the board. Chances are most of them will be things like, oh man, I can't do this, it's too hard. So things like that. So that would kind of lead you into the topic of growth mindset. And then you watch a Class Dojo video, and then there is a reflection that they're doing. So in this resource, I gave you a whole activity booklet with all the activities inside. So here, growth mindset activity booklet. So here they would do, at the end of the activity, they would actually do a reflection about how they felt about this activity. And then lesson 2, there's a mini lesson. So this is where you're teaching students really about what growth mindset is and what the difference between growth mindset and fixed mindset. And there are 2 reading comprehension stories. I'm sorry if I'm giving you a headache from scrolling. So here you have one story about a kid who does have a growth mindset. And there's reading comprehension questions. And then you have another story where the child has a fixed mindset and they are answering questions about that. And the comprehension has the students kind of learning about what it means to have a growth mindset and a fixed mindset, rather than you just standing at the front of the room and like telling them what it is. So that's day 2. And then they are also completing lesson 2, they are completing, after they've learned about growth mindset and fixed mindset, they would complete these sheets. So having a growth mindset looks like, feels like, sounds like, and having a fixed mindset looks like, feels like, sounds like. Let me know. I can't actually see you right now because I'm sharing screen, but I will try and check my phone and you can let me know if you have any questions as I'm going through this. So that is day 2. Already day 2, we're doing so much. Day 3, so this is when you're reviewing the stories that you've read the previous day. And this is where you're kind of asking students, like, what can we do as a project to help someone know whether or not they have a growth mindset or a fixed mindset? And I give you some questions to kind of lead the discussion. And then so I say at this point, we want to guide our students to the conclusion that a quiz. So you can give even like show some examples of quizzes. And I don't mean a quiz like a test type of quiz. I mean like you answer it and then it would say at the end, if you answered mostly A's, this means you have a growth mindset, which I show you later on. So you kind of talk through students and like you want them to kind of think that they've come up with the idea. So you're kind of guiding them through that. Okay, so this day it's more, there's not so much activities in the booklet. Next day, you're showing examples of different quizzes. And this is when students are going to research what it means to make a quiz and also what it means to have a growth mindset. And then they are going to be writing a procedural piece of writing that goes through the steps of creating a quiz. And I have that. So this is where you can leave space for them to research. And then they are writing a procedural piece. And I have steps 4. Steps 1 to 4, and if they need more, you can also have to step 8. So then once they've researched it and they have an idea of how they're going to do it, this is when students would then write. You also want to discuss, as well, like who is going to be doing this quiz. So you can choose as the teacher, or you can let students choose whether you're going to have other students in the school complete it. You could have the staff at the school complete the quiz, or you could have everyone in the school complete the quiz. So this is when day 5 students are going to write a proposal to the principal and outlining the reasons why this principal should let them conduct this quiz and pass it along throughout the school. So they're writing a proposal, which I have here. I need to plug in my phone because it's going to die, my computer. So, where is it? Yeah, letter to the principal. And then, okay, so then day 6 is work time. This is when they're actually creating their quiz. And I have created a template for their quizzes just to make it easier. But if you also wanted as an extension for your stronger students, maybe you wouldn't give them this template and they'd have to create it on their own. So this is where they would write down the questions, and then there's 2 possible answers. And I gave space for 12 questions because, again, this is a smaller project. So I didn't want to burden them with coming up with tons of questions. And then this would be the results page where you say, if you answered mostly A's, you have a growth mindset. If you answered mostly B's, you have a fixed mindset. And students here would describe what that means in this space right here. And there's also space for them to explain, if you do have a fixed mindset, here are some strategies you can use to develop a growth mindset. And then the following day is when students are actually passing along this quiz to different classes or to staff members. And the final day is a reflection/celebration. So students would answer this reflection. And then as a celebration, you can choose what you want to do. You could do like students are sharing their reflections with the class. Maybe they vote on what's the next quiz they want to create, what subject they want to create for. You can have, as a class, students would answer a quiz together. They could go on Kahoot and answer a quiz together. Maybe they could make a Kahoot on what it means to create a quiz, or a growth mindset Kahoot. So just to make it more fun and to celebrate the work that they've done. And then finally, what I've included is a project assessment rubric for you. So again, this is completely free if you click the link in the description of this video. And I will also be sending it in an email. So if you are on my email list, I'll be sending you the details as well. So you get all of this stuff here, as well as the guide that gives you more details about what project-based learning is. So I don't want to take up any more of your Saturday. I hope you have a wonderful weekend, and I will talk to you soon. Bye.